Bitcoin melting faster than this ice cream in my hand. Guys, the truth has finally been exposed about Bitcoin. We're going to be covering some massive news here. So, everybody, question everything, trust nothing. Welcome to Debate Crypto. Welcome, guys. I have run into some crazy information about Bitcoin that I had to share with you. So, today's not going to be your average around the charts day. We are getting prepared for trading wars that is coming out here in the next week or so. On October 16th, we're going live. That is a Monday with trading wars. So that's why you're not seeing all the TA guys showing up on the show lately. We're all getting prepared. We're all structuring out the show, making sure everything's ready, everything's good to go. So these people can get ready to rock and roll on Trading Wars. If you haven't signed up already, the link is down below in the description. I will pin it here in the chat. Give me 2 seconds. Let me hold my ice cream for a split second here. Where's my link? Give me a second here, guys. Trying to find my link here. Come on. Come on. I think I can. All right, here it is. Coming to you guys right now. Bam. There it is. It's in the chat. I'm pinning it to the top. The question is Bitcoin's rally over? And we're not just going to cover Bitcoin's price in the short term here or the long term. We're going to be deep diving into some secrets about Bitcoin that most people don't know and are not aware of. And I was somewhat aware of these secrets. I was somewhere aware of how drastic this was, but not to this extent. Not to this extent. So this is why the show is called Bitcoin Exposed, right? And shout out to another creator that actually made a content on this, and I ran into it last night, and I was like, people need to see this. People need to be aware of what is happening here. So I'll give them proper credit when I bring up their information. In the meantime, let's look over here into the chat, see what's everyone doing. Crypto out, what's going on? Patrick Keysman, what's going on? I'm gonna mess this up, but off near crypto, XR Pete, what's going on? B Team Crypto, Patrick Caveman, Patriot, not Patriot, Patriot Caveman, what's going on? Karen, good to see you. Guys, let me tell you, man, your minds are gonna be blown today when I reveal this information to you guys. Some of you might know a little bit about it, but I don't think a lot of you guys know to the extent that we're gonna dive in here. So let's do a quick little market overwatch. Let's see how the market is doing today. People have been excited. I saw Bitcoin was, making some moves above 28,000. Looks like that wasn't long lived. So let's jump on over here. Let's look at the market and let's do a quick little refresh. 27,400. Bitcoin's down 0.9%, almost a whole percent in the last 24 hours. Ethereum, wow, USDT, a top gainer. This is a stable coin, guys. I don't know what's up with this update on trending and top gainers, but if the top gainers are the stable coins, you know nothing is going on in the crypto market, let me tell you. Is everything just trending? It looks like everything is trending except for the dead projects. Everything is trending. Biggest loser, XLM. Dun dun dun. Cosmos Atom. Oh no. H bar. Oh no. Lido DAO. Internet computer. Uh-oh. Spaghetti-O. Arbitrum. Near protocol. The graph. I don't even know who's trading this thing. This thing is like a dead project here. BitGet token. Oh, I didn't know BitGet had their own token. That's new to me. Well, guys, I'm not going to delay anymore. Let's jump into the chart of Bitcoin. Let's see what's going on over there. Oh, wait, I'm not sharing my full screen. Sorry about that. Let me share my entire screen here. Here we are. Here we are, guys. Bitcoin. Not looking bueno, right? We had a little pump here. Like I told you, we're coming back to do a little retracement. We had another little pump, another little move to the upside. People got excited today. We broke up, hit 28,000. People were like, we're hitting 30K, baby. Let's go. And that didn't happen. It came right back down. So are we doing a little like head and shoulders action here? Gonna start heading down. What's going on here? Are we, I don't know what pattern this is, let me tell you. But what I can tell you is if we pull a regression trend from all the way back here when we dropped to where we're at now, this is why we're getting rejected, right? We're hitting the top of this regression trend. We can't stay above it and break out of this trend. So the trend is still good because we're still slowly moving up to the right, but it's just slower than people want, right? If we lose this EQ, right, we could come here with a wick to retest, like I've said before. But if we start closing below this EQ and we don't see a bounce from here, we're probably going to be heading a lot lower into the 26K area, which is no bueno for this rally. But that doesn't mean that it can't be over, right? It doesn't mean it will be over. We can still come down here, right? We can come all the way down here, lose, come all the way down here, bounce, right? Maybe bounce between this annual pivot again, break out, go back up to the EQ, and slowly start making our way up, right? That can still happen. That can still take us to 28,000, right? That can still happen throughout this entire month. So right here, we're October 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th. We still have all the way up till here. Look at all this time that we can be going sideways, right? Going sideways, going sideways, going sideways before the month of October ends, and we can still make it to that higher level, to that higher 28,000. We can still close the month out green, right? So look how much time we have. We have plenty of time left on this is the 4 hour, obviously, but we got plenty of time left. So guys, don't freak out about the price action today. Let's actually freak out about what's actually happening with Bitcoin in the background. That is what we're here to talk about. What is Bitcoin? How is Bitcoin being exposed? What did you not know that was actually happening? I got to eat this ice cream. It's melting. First, let's jump into the chat here. Off near crypto says, you got it, bro. Thank you. Oh, man, that's the first time I get a name right. I'm terrible with names. Live you said, hello, what's going on? Wick, the Bears will continue to experience pain as long as the calls for 10K continues. I agree with that. I agree. For us to see a 10K Bitcoin, we need to have an FTX 2.0. And even then, when FTX occurred, we didn't drop that low. So what could take us down there is my question. Iram says, good TA, man. Awesome show. I appreciate the comment, man. I know my TA is terrible, right? But I appreciate it. The little bit I know, shout out to Magic, shout out to CVO and Leading Crypto. That's where I've learned what I know. So go check out their trading group if you're interested in trading at all. If you're interested in getting prepared for trading wars, jump to that link in the chat right now. Sign up, get ready to compete against the best of the best. But don't worry, guys. You have an advantage that they don't. It's called time. You have all 4 weeks, day and night, to trade to increase your P&L. Meanwhile, these professional traders only get 1 hour once a week for 4 weeks. So they technically only have a total of 4 hours trading in the entire competition for their P&L to for you to beat their P&L. So they get 4 hours of actual trading time. You guys get 30 days worth, right, of trading time of however you want to use that. So use it wisely. Let's jump into some historic news about Bitcoin, some predictions about Bitcoin, and then we're going to jump into the actual truth that you guys need to hear. And I'm telling you, this is going to blow your mind out. I know I've been dragging this out a little bit. I'm trying to still, recuperate from the cold ice cream. But I promise you, if you stick with me to the end of the show, it's going to blow your mind because that blew my mind yesterday. And like I said, I was aware of how drastic this information was. I was aware that it was very important. It was very drastic, something that people don't normally look at or pay attention to. But once you dive into the actual details, the itty gritty bitty details, you're like, wait a minute, I didn't think it was that bad. It's bad. So let's jump on over here. Bitcoin's historic growth trend shows 1,309 Bitcoin equaled $1 14 years ago. So, guys, congratulations. We've made it. We've officially made it. It's been 14 years since Bitcoin's been $1. How drastic of a life-changing event that has been. In 14 years, less than 2 decades, look at Bitcoin from $1, right? 1,309 Bitcoin equal to $1. So it was way below $1 per Bitcoin, all the way to $27,000 that we're at today. And we're worried. We're worried about the price. We're worried about, hey, Bitcoin over here at 27,493. Oh my God. 14 years ago, one Bitcoin didn't even equal $1. Well, I digress. Today, October 5th, marks an anniversary in the history of Bitcoin in which a total of 1,309 Bitcoin units equaled $1. The notification was brought to the fore by Pete Rizzo, a Forbes contributor and self proclaimed Bitcoin historian. Rizzo attached a chart to this post showing how the asset's price grew on different days in October 2009. So I'm not going to dive too deep into this, but obviously the history of Bitcoin as a wealth builder, notably as of October 2009, $1 amounted to 1,309 Bitcoins. At this rate, one Bitcoin was worth, look at this, 0.0007. That's how much it was worth. That's how much one Bitcoin was worth. This right here. This unfathomable number that people can't even say properly, because I can't even say that properly. However, the asset skyrocketed in the following days, hitting close to almost a tenth of a penny. Let me tell you. But nonetheless, here, right, we're gonna go through the history. This is not important. The history of Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin going up, increasing, yada yada. Right, that's not what's important here. What's important here is the fact that Bitcoin has come a long way. Bitcoin has paved the way, and they are people. Uh, I posted this on Twitter. I actually replied to him, our good friend of the show, Joshua Jake. Right when we first met, and I first ran into him on TikTok, he was very, very pro XRP. We even have a show. We have an episode. If you go and look back in our debates, our actual live debates, we have a debate where Joshua Jake and Mason come on to debate XRP, and we're debating XRP and versus Bitcoin kind of thing. And obviously, I'm going to be pro Bitcoin. They were very pro XRP. Mason still is. But Joshua Jake has changed his mind, right? Joshua Jake, not saying that he's bearish on XRP, but he has seen what people see behind Bitcoin. He's very pro and very bullish on Web 5, which is what Jack Dorsey has been working on for the Bitcoin protocol and creating this whole new ecosystem, all based on on Bitcoin and smart contracts on Bitcoin. And we were talking about this on Cypherpunk 2023, just 2 weeks ago in person. And it's amazing what's being built out there. So it's awesome to see people, not that he's a Bitcoin maxi or transforming into a Bitcoin maxi, because we don't need to have that tribalism, but we just need to talk about facts. We need to talk about what's actually happening in the space and what is good and what is bad. There's a lot of good that's happening in the Bitcoin ecosystem that people don't want to pay attention to. Oh, it's too slow. Oh, it's this. Guys, it works. It is the hardest money that has ever existed to this point in history. It's better than gold. It's definitely better than fiat. Fiat is not even money, it's monopoly money, right? And it's better than any past version of what was considered money. Like I said, I've always said this before. Go read the Bitcoin standard. The Bitcoin standard is barely about Bitcoin. It's actually about the history of money, what money has been in the past and how it's been manipulated, and why there's always been a new version of money that's been harder than the previous one, right? Until eventually somebody finds an exploit, somebody finds how to manipulate, create more of that money, and then they have to jump into a new one. There's always these transfers of wealth. That's what the Bitcoin standard is about. Not that we're I wish we were sponsored by them, because man, we all we do is talk about them, the Bitcoin standard. That book changed my life. And even though Bitcoin is slow and it might take you 29 minutes, I saw somebody tweeting, it took me 29 minutes to send $10 or something like that. Maybe that's true. But you know what? Your banking system takes you days to get money from one place to the next. So 29 minutes might not be so bad. Yeah, is it slower than some of the other stuff? But what's more decentralized than Bitcoin? What's more secure than Bitcoin? What's a harder money than Bitcoin? There's none. That's why there's Bitcoin and there's altcoins. There is no anything else. Bitcoin is not an altcoin, and none of the altcoins will ever be Bitcoin. It's literally just that, Bitcoin and everything else. And that's what this distinguishes Bitcoin. But we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna be talking about some hard truths about Bitcoin here later in the show that are gonna blow your mind. Blow your mind. I mean, it's blown my mind. If you're not mind blown with what we're gonna reveal here, I I don't know what to tell you. You are plugged into the matrix. You are 100% full NPC. That's all I can say. But before we jump into that, let's jump into some price predictions here by analysts, right? Like I said, we're talking about analysts here. Guys, the reason why people have not been coming on the show to trade, well, not to trade, but to show some price charts and some price predictions and yada yada and some TA, it's because we're preparing for the trading wars. We are preparing for trading wars. If you guys have not heard of it, I will show you one last time. Well, I'm lying. I'm not going to show you one last time. I'm going to show you a lot of times, because we need to promote this as much as we can to make sure it gets out there and you guys figure out that, hey, this is going to be the next biggest show on YouTube ever. And you guys are here early. You guys are here early, and we are going to make sure that you guys are rewarded for that in one way or another. So here's the tweet, guys. If you guys haven't seen it, I know I'm like a broken record, but it's my job, right? This is how we're going to make it happen for Debate Crypto. Trading Wars. We got Lifer, we got Frankie, we got Crypto Blood, we got Evan Aldo, we've got Gareth, we got CVO, we got Magic, we've got Crypto Crow, and last but definitely not least, we got Crypto Face, all coming along with Ben, all coming here to the show, split into Team Keeper versus Team Crusader for 4 weeks straight. They're going to be trading live. They're going to show you how to, not how to trade live, but they're going to be trading live. You're going to see them put their skills to the test, to compete against each other, to see who's the best team, to see who's got the highest P&L at the end of 4 weeks, who can actually trade. It's going to be a great, great educational and entertaining show. And all of this is possible to our partner with Zoom, our partnership with ZoomX, and all these great content creators that have supported us and helped us make it this far, and just continue to take this show and channel further and further. This is going to change the YouTube game, guys. It's going to change the YouTube game. So, guys, get ready, because this trading wars, once it starts, there's no putting Pandora back in the box. It's going to be wild. I'm just going to leave it at that. It's going to be wild. But here we are, right? Here we are with what is happening in the Bitcoin price predictions. The Bitcoin price predictions, crypto analysts split on the predictions. They don't know. Is it bearish? Is it bullish? We're going to figure it out here, guys. Everybody says we're bull, and then we crash right back down. So the Bitcoin stands in an intriguing crossroads, right? With currently trading at 27,900, the flagship cryptocurrency has surged impressively by 2%. What are we, the stock market here? Getting excited about 2% in the last 24 hours? Sweet baby Jesus, what's going on? A substantial 5.49% over the week, with briefly breaking the pivotal 28,000 threshold on October 5th. This was short-lived, guys. This 28,000 threshold was short-lived. I saw it. I was like, we're pumping. I went to the gym. I got back. I was like, we're dumping. What's going on? Right? Karen is asking, what is the time for Trading Wars on Monday? It's going to be 3 p.m. Eastern time, the same time that we always stream. It's going to be Mondays and Thursdays. One team will be trading on Monday, one team will be trading on Thursdays, and that's how it's going to work. It's going to be our same time, 3 3 p.m. I'm actually laughing at this comment here from uh from from the Monte Man says yes, sideways Tober. That's right. That's exactly where we're at. We are in sideways Tober, baby. We're not in Uptober or Dumptober. We are sideways Tober. 100%, dude. That was a great comment. So let's keep going, right? 27,900. We're actually below that right now. The bullish momentum has prompted crypto expert Michael Van de Poppe to offer an optimistic outlook, asserting confidently on X, formerly Twitter. I hate that name, X. Bitcoin is very much ready to reclaim 29,000, 30,000 target new highs. I am in this camp. I've had conversations with some people in the background that believe this is happening, and I believe them. Is it going to play out? Is it true? We're going to find out. But I'm in this camp right now. I was bearish in September, and I was drastically wrong. So now I'm bullish in October, because October historically is a very good month for Bitcoin. And there's only been one instance in history of Bitcoin where September has been green and October has been red. Every time, September is usually always red, and we usually always have a green October. There's been times where there has been a green September and a green October, but there's only been one time in 2012, I believe it was, where September was green and October was red. So I therefore believe that the chances of October closing green are very high. Therefore, that's why I believe in this 29,30,000 price target. Van der Poppe bullish sentiments are grounded in the recent successful breach of the 28,000 mark, which we still can't hold, but hopefully we can get that under wraps here before the month closes. Only reflects current positive market dynamics, but also positions Bitcoin for a bullish trajectory, anticipating new peaks in the near future. Let's talk about those peaks here real quick. That's not. Oh, nope. What is going on? I need my picker, my nose picker thingy, my jigger. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about those highs, right? So if we jump out here to the daily, let me turn off this regression trend. We jump out here to the daily. These peaks, right? 30,000 is the value area high of this year. Value area high is 30,000. If we break this, right, the next target is 31,000. We have not been able to go higher than $31,835. That is going to be massive. If we can break 31,000, basically 31,800, basically 32,000. We can reach 32,000. Either we're going to crash from there and we're going to just set a new little high here, and then we're going to crash right back down to somewhere in the mid 20s maybe, or that's where the rally really starts. That's going to be it. Those are the price targets we need to look for. First, we're here focused on here. But once we break and get to this price level of 29,000, 30,000, and we get above this range value high, prepare yourselves, guys, because 32,000 is the next. If we break 32 and move up from 32, off to the races. Off to the races. Is there a chance that we get massively rejected at 32 and crash back down, still setting a new high for the year? Of course. But if we don't, like I said, off to the races. But let's go back to the article. Here comes the bear flag, right? So that was the positive. Hey, we break 29, we hold 28, we're heading to 29.30. That's the bullish case. The bearish case, however, right, there's a bear flag appears on the Bitcoin chart. Amidst the prevailing optimism, there exists a descent perspective voiced by crypto analyst Ali Martinez. Martinez introduces a note of caution by suggesting that Bitcoin might be forming a bearish pattern. I don't know why I do this like a Hispanic, like a Italian accent, because Ali Martinez might just be a regular American. I don't know. Specifically, a bear flag. The classic chart pattern, according to Martinez, is often indicated by continuation of BTC downtrend. It introduces an element of skepticism into the narrative, urging investors to tread carefully and consider the possibility of a market correction. The coming days may unveil whether Bitcoin surges to reclaim higher milestones or succumbs to the bearish signals, highlights by Martinez, making each move in the crypto market a strategic decision in these high stakes chess games. So, my take here is we got a bullish and we got a bearish case here right? We're in a bear flag, but we can also have a breakout if we hold 28,000 and start going to 2930. If we break 30, or 32 is the next level to be looking out for. I believe between these two bearish things, right? People are trying to go either extremely bullish off to the races or extremely bearish. We're crashing down to 20, we're crashing down to 15, we're going down to 10, whatever it is. I believe it's going to be somewhere in the middle. I believe we might have a run up and then we might have a crash, right? We might have a mix of both scenarios because that is what's going to wreck the most people. I believe that could be the most likely scenario. Maybe we just go straight up, right? Maybe we break that 32,000 and we just go up and up from here. Maybe we get rejected at 28, 29, and we can never reach that. And we dump straight back down and we set a new all-time low. Highly unlikely in my perspective, but you just never know. Never know, right? You never know. I don't believe that, but that's what people are predicting right now, and we're gonna figure it out. I still stand by the fact that I believe October is gonna close bullish. Quarter four of Bitcoin, quarter four of the year has always been very productive for the Bitcoin price. That's just historical data. So therefore, I'm very bullish on it. I was bearish last month and I was wrong. I could be bullish right now and be wrong, right? That's just the way it works. When I go long, it shorts, and when I go short, it longs. That's the life of Crusader, guys. I'm sorry that I'm wrecking the price for you guys. That's why I don't buy or sell Bitcoin, because if I buy, it dumps. If I sell it, it pumps. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. That's just the way it works, man. That's just the way it works. So let me jump here into the chat real quick before we get into the mind-blowing information that I want to share you guys, some hardcore facts about Bitcoin that you might not be aware of. Crypto pollo. Que volón, tiburón. What's going on? Cluck, cluck, everyone. Sideways till November. Very possible. Very, very possible. Wick says that psychological level, though, 100%. 30,000 is that psychological level. It's going to be massive. What's going on here? Liv Capituna Nu says if S&P and the QQQ go lower, watch Bitcoin. 100% S&P, the Dixie might be hitting a top here, might start dropping. Bitcoin could possibly, obviously has an inverse relationship with the dollar. Dollar go down, Bitcoin go up. We are also printing in an obscene amount of money. Let me actually cover that a little bit here with you guys before we get into these Bitcoin facts. I'm not trying to delay anything, but it's just very important that we actually pay attention to what is happening with the dollar. Is this it? Okay. No, this is not it, but this is something that I want to share with you guys anyway. Not dollar related, but does harm the US economy. We are at roughly, right, the average historically for the petrol reserves, right, the strategic petrol reserves is 33 days before running out since the 1990s. We are just 17 days from the supply ending of the strategic petrol reserves. So we are in trouble in that forefront. But there is more, right? There is more information here. The OPC meeting kicks off to discuss ongoing production cuts, right? Look at this, just straight down, nothing but down. This is terrible, right? Strategic reserves are basically empty right now. But this is not what I wanted to share with you. I wanted to share you guys what is actually happening with the US dollar and the level of money printing. Well, I don't want to say money printing, just money spending that is happening in this country is mind-blowing. It really is. Like the fact that we are spending nearly, okay, here it is. Here it is. Look at this. Look at this tweet here. The U.S. just added 275 billion in debt today. This was yesterday or 2 days ago. We are on track to hit 34 trillion by the end of November, when we just hit 33 trillion last month. Like I told you guys earlier in this a few weeks ago, I told you guys it took us 4 months, right, since around May, June time, to hit $1 trillion, to add $1 trillion of debt to the national debt. We went from 32 to 33 in 4 months. Now we're adding 275 billion in debt in one day. If we continue on down this dangerous path, we're going to hit another trillion in a month. Money printer, baby. That's what I'm talking about. This is just wild, right? So we're just setting new records here on how fast we can spend money. TARP 2008 bailout was 475 billion. Here's some context. Bitcoin supply remaining is 52 billion. We spent 275 billion in a day. The remaining supply of Bitcoin is 52 billion dollars. Added 1,700 debt more per taxpayer today, which was, like I said, that was a few days ago. We actually added, I believe, like 25 or 30 something billion more. We're like around 300 and something $billion in the last 2 days. If we keep this pace up for the next 4 months, we will double the US national debt. I don't think we're going to do that. We're not going to stay at this rate every single day. The rate is high, but it's not that high. The US could have bought the entire remaining Bitcoin supply 5.3 times over this morning. Get off zero, get self custody, 100, what? 1 million daily Bitcoin candles coming. That would be insane. $1 million daily candle would just be insane. That's not possible. That's just not gonna happen. That would literally, no. I'm a huge believer in Bitcoin. I'm a huge believer in sovereign, being sovereign and being independent and freedom and all this, but that's just not gonna happen. There's just no way that would happen. Hey, shout out to the Hops on Cardano here. Our good friend from the show that's been a longtime supporter, unforgettable name, hasn't been here for a while, actually started their own NFT project called the Hops on Cardano. If you're not following them on Twitter, go check them out. Great project. If you're a beer lover, this is the project for you. Go let them know. Go follow them. And yeah, that's, I believe, yeah, here it is, right? The US added another $33 billion of debt in one day yesterday, bringing the 2-day total to 308 billion. 308 billion. The US debt crossed 33 trillion just 15 days ago. The US has added another about half a billion in debt. That is an average of 1.4 billion per hour for the last 15 days straight. If the US debt borrowed over the last 2 weeks alone was split by every taxpayer, it'd be $3,000 per person. Debt to GDP is back above 120%, while we may see 34 trillion in total US debt within a month. That's just crazy. The greatest transfer of wealth is happening right now. The dollar is being destroyed. That's just what's happening. The levels of scarring and damage that is being done to the dollar with this infinite amount of spending, debt ceiling raising. Right? The government didn't shut down because they figured out what they were going to do with money spending. They just delayed it for 45 days until November 17th, I believe is the day. So get ready for that. That's going to happen again, where we're going to be like, oh, we're going to shut down because we just don't know how to stop spending money. We don't know how to stop spending money that we don't have. Right? It is what they tell you. Hey, don't max out your credit cards. Hey, don't live in debt. Right? The United States is king of spending money they don't have. They're stealing your money from the future, from future you, right? Because they are inflating the currency. They are destroying the ecosystem, the economy by this level of debt in the country. So let's start jumping into these mind-blowing facts about Bitcoin that you guys need to be aware of. So, what's going on here? All right. So let me share my screen here and let's get prepared. If you guys haven't smashed those likes, smash those likes right now. Let's start waking up, guys. It's about to go down. So let's get ready for the mind blowing information here on Bitcoin. And I'm not exaggerating. I know sometimes I exaggerate and sometimes I'm like, and I'm sarcastic about things. This is actually not sarcastic or dramatic at all. This is actually very true information that is very mind blowing indeed. So smash those likes, sign up for Trading Wars. Let's get ready to rock and roll here. Everything you need to know about Bitcoin is going to happen right now. When people tell you why you should buy Bitcoin or you shouldn't buy Bitcoin, think about the information I'm about to share here with you guys. So let me share my screen. And massive shout out to Invest Answers. This information comes directly from one of his episodes. Invest Answers on YouTube made a video about this, about the truth about Bitcoin, the reality of the numbers behind Bitcoin. And this is where this information is coming from. I grabbed it from his video. Amazing information. Go follow him. Go watch his video. He's going to explain it 100 million times better than myself, but I'm going to give you the brief version of it here, right? The average number of Bitcoin addresses per user is 31 addresses. This is how many addresses, right? We've got a total of 1 million, a little bit over 1 million, 1,007,530 Bitcoin addresses that hold one Bitcoin or more, right? They hold at least one Bitcoin. The unique Bitcoin addresses are 1.1 trillion. The estimated number of Bitcoin users is 36,800,000. So when you average that out, you get 31 addresses per user. So there's a lot less, right? When you see this number of 1 million wallets hold one Bitcoin or more, you're like, wow, there's so many people that hold so many Bitcoins, right? Because if 1 million addresses hold one Bitcoin, how many other addresses hold way more than one Bitcoin, right? But that is actually false narrative. That is actually a deception here. There is a lot less people in the entire world that hold more than one Bitcoin. And you guys have heard me about what is the importance of holding one full Bitcoin and how that's never going to happen again in the future. If people are Bitcoin's getting to a point where no one will ever hold more than one whole Bitcoin anymore because people are getting priced out. That is why I've been so urgent about it in the past. But let's keep going. It gets worse, or I should say, it gets better. If you're a Bitcoin holder, if you're a whole coin holder, or if you have a motive or a drive to try to accumulate one full Bitcoin, this is going to be for you. This information is going to be great for you. So let's keep moving forward. Hold on. That's not the correct order. Let me tell you. So here's the first part, right? Part one Bitcoin more, one Bitcoin or more addresses, right? Whole coiners. We got to divide the number of addresses with one Bitcoin or more, which basically this is the number. This is the number of all the Bitcoin wallets, right? That have over one Bitcoin, 1,007,000 divided by the average amount of addresses means 31,985 unique people. So now we jump into part two. A whole coiner controlling multiple addresses with less than one Bitcoin, right? So who is the sum? Here's the math, right? The calculated average bag per address, right, is 1 divided by 31,000 by 31. This breaks down to $960 worth today. So about 0.03 per wallet. The number of addresses with $1,000 plus of Bitcoin equal 7.4 million. Subtract whole coiners with one Bitcoin or more per address, right? So that's the 1 million subtracted from the 7.4 million, leaves you 6.4. Now divide that by the 31 addresses per user, and we get, how can I get this out? How can I get this out of the way here? There you go. We get an actual amount of about 203,215 actual unique people that are holding one Bitcoin. So when we started here, we thought that, hey, 1 million people have one Bitcoin or more. Now we're at the actual number of about 203,000 people only in the entire world have one Bitcoin. So let's jump out here to the next slide. Where is my sliding mechanism here? Hold on. Come on, guys. You can do this. So where does that take us? Right? That takes us to this over here. We're adding part 1 and part 2 together. So in part 1, we got that 31,985 number. Part 2, we got the 203,000 number. We add these together, and this is the actual amount of how many whole coiners exist. 235,200 whole coiners. That's how many people hold one full Bitcoin. That's how many people, right? This is part 1 and part 2 together. We go back to part 1. Part 1 is the million Bitcoin divided by the average amount of users of addresses per user, means we have 31,000 unique people. And then part 2, we are, doing the whole math on the 6.4 million divided by 6.4 million divided by the 31 average amounts of wallets per person gives us an average amount this. So that is how we get to where is okay, here we go. That's how we get to this number right here. Now let's move on, right? If you guys are not getting your mind blown just yet, smash those likes because it's going to get better for you guys. It's going to get better. So we got this. We went over that. What is the percent of millionaires that can become whole coiners by 2026? This is how many this is just if only millionaires got involved. There are 8.3 Bitcoins accounted for. Bitcoins left to mine is 1.6, a balance of 11 million Bitcoin, right? 30% that may sell, people that have Bitcoin right now that may sell, 3 million. They are 97,900,000 millionaires in 2026. 97 million, 97.9 million. Right, the percentage of millionaires that could become whole coiners if they all wanted to go and buy Bitcoin is only 3%. Only 3% out of all these millionaires can become a whole coiner in 2026. Think about that. Think about that right now. But let's move on. We already covered that. The percent of Bitcoin as a popular. Wait, hold on. I'm messing this up, guys. Bitcoin per millionaire in 2026, assuming nobody else has any, this is how much they would own. They would own 0.14 Bitcoin. That's how much all the millionaires would have if no one else had Bitcoin. Only them. Now, the amount of Bitcoin you need to have more than the net worth of the average person in the world is 0.23. So if you have at least 0.23 Bitcoin, you're above the average person. You are above the average person. Now let's jump out over here. Owning one Bitcoin, top percent of wealth of the world population. If you own one full Bitcoin, this is the percentage of population you're in. You're in the 0.0044%. Now let's jump over here. If you think this percent is small, let's look at this percent again. The number of Bitcoin whole coiners as a percent of the world population, right? This number over here was based off of the wealth of the world, right? Top percent of wealth. This number is based off of just the population of the world. You are even smaller, 0.0029% of Bitcoin. So when people talk about not enough Bitcoin, about time running out, about how there is not enough Bitcoin for everyone, every time. And now let's get right. So now we went through all those facts. Like I said, shout out to Invest Answers. All those screenshots come from his video. Go check it out. Go watch him break it all down in precise detail, explaining everything. Great, amazing video. Now let's talk about how even less people own that amount of Bitcoin, because we have entities like MicroStrategy that own thousands, hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin. Right? You have BlackRock coming in with a spot ETF. They're going to own tons of Bitcoin. Coinbase was revealed that they own 5% of all Bitcoin, right? And they're selling OTC to the big rich guys. Um, so most people jump into the crypto space and they're like, "Oh, Bitcoin is not going to make me rich tomorrow or next year or whatever. So I'm not going to buy Bitcoin because it's not going to 10x, 100x, 1000x my money." But if we do believe that Bitcoin is the hardest money asset ever, just with the amount of millionaires that exist, there's not enough Bitcoin for you. There's not enough Bitcoin for you to accumulate a whole Bitcoin. So this goes to what I've said a lot of times before. Time is running up. Time is running out. There is no wealth of time left for you to accumulate a full Bitcoin if that is your goal. If it's not your goal, sure, there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's your money. Everybody does whatever they want with it. You buy whatever assets you want. But I believe the scarcity of Bitcoin, the amount of interest from millionaires and institutions like BlackRock and many others show that it is the hardest asset. It is the hardest money. It is the greatest thing that's been created so far when it comes to money. And when it comes to Web 5 being built on Bitcoin and the ecosystem is going to be built there by Jack Dorsey, go look it up, Google it if you haven't already. If you already have never heard of Web 5, you're like, what's happening to Web 4? Well, there is no Web 4. We're jumping straight to Web 5. Let me tell you, it's going to blow your mind. Web 5, it is nothing like Web 3. It is everything Web 3 should have been and never became. So Bitcoin is running out. Miners are going to be running out of Bitcoin. The average person is not going to ever own a full Bitcoin, probably never even own half a Bitcoin. At most, throughout the entire population, I said you would own like 0.23, you'd be above the average person if you own 0.23. I believe in this a video with Invest Answers he actually explained that the savings or the net worth of the average person in the entire world adds up to about $7,000. I also heard what's his name, Jordan Peterson, talk about how the amount of money you need to make per year to be in the top 1% of the world is $32,000. If you make $32,000 and up, you're in the top 1%, right? A lot of people in the United States make a lot more than $32,000. Not everyone, not everyone. There's a lot of people that don't, but a good amount of people do. And what are you doing? You're holding it in dollars, right? You're holding it in a monopoly currency that is deteriorating and melting and they're being spent and printed to death versus the greatest asset that's ever been created, the greatest transfer of wealth happening before our eyes that there is just not enough of. There is not enough for everyone. There's not enough for the millionaires alone. There's definitely not enough for you. And there's definitely not enough for these massive institutions like BlackRock to get involved in with. It's just not enough Bitcoin. So in the future, by the end of this decade, I believe the relative term of Satoshi is going to become a lot more popular than it has been in the past because people are not going to be talking in Bitcoins. People are not going to be talking in, oh, yeah, half a Bitcoin, or yeah, half, because this is going to be such a large number, right? With the spot ETF taking over, with Bitcoin possibly reaching a 10 trillion market cap and, like gold by the end of this decade and being over $500,000 or $1 million per coin, Bitcoin is not going to be referred to anymore in Bitcoins. How many Bitcoins you have, or this ordinal that I'm buying costs me, X amount of Bitcoin. It's going to be Satoshis. There's 100 million Satoshis in one Bitcoin. And that's going to be the easier way to convert. People are going to hold Satoshis. People are going to be transacting in Satoshis in Web 5. People are not going to be transacting in half a Bitcoin, a full Bitcoin. That is going to be for the elite amount of people. So if there's ever been an elite club that's ever existed, there's nothing more elite than the amount of Bitcoin that somebody can own if they own at least one whole coin. If you own one whole coin, you are part of an extremely elite club of people. Like I said, like I showed you here earlier, this is the number. This is your percentage in the entire world of population, right? 0.0029. That's less than the 1%. People talk about the 1%. This is less than the 1%. You know what else is less than 1%? Just this, the top percent of wealth, right? You know what else puts you in greater than the average person? 0.23 Bitcoin, right? Most people are not going to barely even own that before the end of the decade is over because of the price of Bitcoin is going to be, because people are priced out of Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is so scarce that people are just going to start talking Satoshi. So whenever you're worried about the price of Bitcoin, if you're ever worried about the day to day, are we going to hit 29,000? Are we going to hit 30,000? Are we going to go back down to 20? Right? This time right now that we're living in will not be repeated again. We're not going to see a $20,000 range Bitcoin for much longer, and we're probably never going to revisit these levels again. I'm not telling you to go buy right now. I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm just giving you facts. I don't believe we're going to come back down into the 20s ever again. After we cross 100,000, after the BlackRock spot ETF, I don't think we're ever going to see a $20,000 to $30,000 Bitcoin ever again. So if that is what I believe, right? If you believe, hey, I want to own at least one Bitcoin or at least half a Bitcoin, when should I start buying? When should I start accumulating? What should I be looking out for? These are the numbers and facts that you need to be looking at and considering in your mind. Because the longer you wait, the less and less Bitcoin is ever going to be available for you and for your family, right? The way I see Bitcoin is I'm never going to sell my Bitcoin. A lot of people are coming to that realization that they're never going to sell their Bitcoin. Institutions want you to sell your Bitcoin, right? All this fear mongering wants you to sell your Bitcoin. I will never sell Bitcoin. I will never sell my Bitcoin. I am going to pass my Bitcoin down to my children. And whatever price that is at that point in the future, they might pass it down to their children, right? And I'm not saying that I'm not going to use it. It's definitely going to be used, but it's not going to be spent. It's not going to be spent. I'm not going to sell it. I'm not going to cash it out for dollars or whatever reserve currency is at the time. It's just not worth it because there's nothing better than Bitcoin yet. Something better than Bitcoin appears in the rest during the rest of my lifetime, which I don't think it will, because I think this is a once a generation, once a lifetime technology. It's going to take a long time before we get a new level of money being created that's way better than Bitcoin. Not saying the technologies behind Bitcoin won't be better in other cryptocurrencies, but the decentralization, the hard asset, the accumulation, the usage of Bitcoin, I don't think anything's going to beat that for a very, very long time. So, guys, like I said, all this information came from Invest Answers on YouTube. Go check them out. Great content, not just for this video, but for many other videos. Great person. Make sure you go subscribe to them. Shout out to them. Go watch their video on. Actually, I think I can pull it up here. I believe I can pull it up. So, give me 2 seconds here. I can pull it up so you guys can know exactly what video it is. And he does an amazing job covering this information. An amazing job, um, that you guys should definitely, I recommend everyone to go watch it because it blew my mind yesterday. Like I said, I've known about this information. I've known that Bitcoin is scarce. I've known that there's not enough Bitcoin for everyone. But when you break it down to these details like he does, mind blowing. So here's the video. The real number of whole coiners right here. Go check it out. I've watched the whole video. It's 14 minutes long. It's the best 14 minutes of your life if you really care about this subject, if you really care about Bitcoin and the real numbers in the breakdown. He goes into high level. I gave you a brief summary. He goes into high detail of what goes on in the actual numbers behind Bitcoin and breaks it down to you like he's talking to a fifth grader so you can completely understand it. So go check it out if you haven't already. But guys, with that being said, right, trading wars. If you're not getting ready for trading wars, you're missing out. Trading wars is going to be the biggest thing happening here on this channel, and I believe in all of YouTube for the near future. Nothing like this is happening anywhere else. There is no other show in entire YouTube that's going to be doing what we're doing, a real live competition, right? We've got the next crypto gem, we've got whale killers coming out, right? But we got nothing like this. We've got no crypto trading competitions live with the best traders in the game, the biggest content creators in the game, live on the show, and that you guys can participate with. You guys can participate live and compete with them with throughout those 4 weeks, throughout those 4 weeks, and try to see if you can beat them and reap the rewards. So go check it out. Hit that link in our chat that is pinned to the top. Sign up, get ready, get involved. Investing. Trading wars is going to be the biggest thing out there. I'm so excited to finally be able to bring this to fruition, guys. It's gonna be wild. It's gonna probably be as wild as Bitcoin's supply crisis that is happening. Oh, that's another thing that I didn't even mention. I didn't even mention the next halvening. Right, it's only gonna escalate even faster. In by the time the next halvening happens, even less Bitcoin, less Bitcoin, less Bitcoin. We can talk about this forever. But guys, like always, question everything, trust nothing, and until next time, hodl like it's hot. See you guys.